What is up, everybody? This is Tikwe, also known as Richard. I'm coming back to you with another English game, specifically focusing on just the final verdict of what I would say is what you need to get down as the English. If you do what you see in this specific round, you would do really well with English. I am currently sitting at gold 1, and I do feel what I'm currently doing is comfortable enough to go into you know, maybe possibly plat early still in this season. But the main thing is you want to get the split right early on, meaning 2 to gold, 2 to wood, and the rest to sheep. Now, you take your first 2 sheep. Specifically on this map, we're playing Danube River. I got a tongue twister on that one. Sorry, guys. But the main thing I want to show you guys specifically on this map is your pathing. So primarily, this is new. So unfortunately, you can't contest water. You have to build a dock all the way this side if you want to contest water. Otherwise, water is pretty safe. But you'll see on this relic side, usually one of these 2 sides, there's another one right here. On these corners where the mountain meets, usually around here or here, there is some sheep. And then somewhere along this sacred side. There's very rarely sheep here in the middle, but you will find the double boar here. So this is something roost players will look forward to when they're pushing forward. And then you'll find more sheep probably in the back corners. One here, you can see 1 stray sheep here, 2 stray sheep here, and a few closer to the river on his side. 1 here at the back. And as the English, right, you have a few advantages that you can play with, right? I want you guys to have a look at the age up timing. With the English, if you go for this playstyle, the reason why this playstyle is working is you are delaying your feudal age, right? Firstly. And that gives you an advantage for pushing. You can see how he went for 4 villagers on gold this early as the English. You don't need that, because you want micro strong enough. And even the sheeps, you don't want the sheeps to be this far. You want to get them as close to your base as possible. And now I have 3 on wood, 4 actually on wood. So we want that consistent wood supply to come in and transition these first few villagers onto your farms, because we are doing wheelbarrow research into feudal age. After feudal age, immediately you go for double broadaxe, and then you will already be comfortably enough on a really high population where you can push in. Now you can see when he gets too close with his scout, I garrison my villagers just to make sure we get that scout out of the way. So we force him to have to train another scout, and because of that, you can see his scouting path stops. So that gives me some time to get across the map and pick up all these extra sheep. Now we haven't got too much, and we did get that first 2, but you just must get your timing right with the first one, that you don't run out of food, but you also have enough wood to transition into farms. Now 3 minutes 20, more or less around this time, most factions will start aging up. If this was a game against the French, obviously you want to get more onto it, get a barracks down, get some spearmen out to protect your base, and then push that feudal age. But because I know I was against an English player, you know, you can get away with playing a little bit more passively and getting a comfortable place for yourself to be in. And I'll show you also how effective it is with this specific game. My mill placement could have been better if I've put my house this side, right? And I moved the mill back here, this whole space would have been farms, and it would have been extra safe. At this point in time, the farms are not really safe, especially against English longbowmen, because if your longbowman is right here, they'll pick off these villagers and you won't be able to shoot at them. If the farms are right here, the chances of them getting on top of you, because this is the end of the map, will be very difficult, and you put a single outpost maybe here on the berries, and you are even more safe. Even if you put the mining camp on the side here, lumber mill maybe in the back corner here, and wall of far in the corner right here, that means all of your resources are very safe. So take note of that, specifically in the early game, so you have your high defense of your town center able to give you all the defense you need, instead of having to waste resources on outposts and stuff like that. Against the Delhi player, I find this is also quite difficult. You have to go for a bit of a timing push before 10 minutes. If you don't, they run into castle age, and then you have to deal with tower elephants or tower war elephants. So you can see now I keep the scout moving. You can select the sheep by double clicking them or just dragging across them. And now I'm positioning them in this little opening we have here, because any excess villagers, if I don't want to expand to farms, they'll still do a pretty damn good job at farming food on these sheep. And now I'm going to use my wood villagers to build down a council hall. I know the Abbey of the Kings is pretty nice, especially when you go for horsemen. But at this lower level, I would say anything from silver, bronze, gold around this area, go with the council hall. It gives you more room to breathe and more resources at your disposal, because this is what I want you guys to see right now, okay? We're sitting on 400 wood, and we are building up our food now because we are producing villagers consistently. Point to note, you only need 4 villagers to keep your 4 villagers on food. Any food source to keep a consistent supply of villagers in your base, right? Now there's a little scout, I guess, running around. Let's just have a look. Yeah, he had to train another scout. So only now he's starting to get out onto the map. He did a little sweep, but we've already, as you can see from our side, been where he's going. So now we've already picked up all the resources that we need. Now you can see he's rallying out all the way across the bridge. To the far back here. Let's just see where that rally point is. And this is not bad, because if he scouted this out, he's gonna suspect, okay, cool. So from his perspective, this is scouted out. So you know, he knows he wants to come through the tree line at some point, and we are starting to prepare for that because we are behind on the age up, 6 minutes 50. He aged up a little bit earlier than us, very heavy on the wood line, and he's struggling to get his food up. You can see how much he's gonna have to transition into food now, and how far the sheep are, and there's just no balance in his economy to get these longbowmen out as quick as possible. Now remember, we aged up after him, but because of the council hall training units 100% quicker, so basically 2 archer ranges. You can see it's 7 seconds per archer to come out. We have an outpost here just to cover that extra range of the town center, so our wood line is safe if he pushed forward. And from my perspective, this is what we're seeing right now. So I'm walling off the front here, so I know for a fact, because we scouted this out, we have this very big nice tree line that's actually closed right here. So there's a single point of entry, maybe at these 2, but it's a choke point right here that they can push through. And now there's 5 archers, a really nice you know, amount of archers with the push forward, and now we have 8 archers already, just for the time it took him to run. And we have our scout inside his base, so we can keep information on what's going on. And now you can see he actually picks up a few villagers. I think a wolf also aggroed on me, because I didn't immediately see that, so I did lose out that first villager. Now you'll see I'll move my food villagers. I actually I dragged and I missed that one, but I moved them onto the safe sheep. And now I keep behind my archers on keybind 4, and I'm pushing forward, and you'll see there's actually a villager close by this one that's coming to wall off this side and this side. And you can see, because of our economy, we have 500 food, 180 wood, and we have archers in production because of our consistent wood supply and very stable food supply with the wheelbarrow and these farms. You can also go for horticulture if you have the wood to do that, which was maybe a good thing to do. But we're getting our housing economy stabilized. Yeah, you can see horticulture is available. I didn't get it early on, but it would have also made a big difference. And now we are facing an enemy of 9 archers with 7 archers, but there's no specific upgrades here. It's longbows versus longbows. But we actually lose this villager by accident. But the longbows, what they're doing is they're buying me time, because we already have another mass building up right here. You can see the production very, very effective compared to what he has right now. And the reason for that is he has this whole running distance of archers that need to fill up here at the back. And as soon as we close this off, you force him to go into a blacksmith, you force him to go into siege engineering, which again buys you time, which means you can build up a mass, go into castle age, and expand into other resources. Remember, while all of this was happening, we also sent 3 villagers over to stone, so we can start with that stone production and push forward to a, what do you call it? We can push forward to a second town center, because that will give us the ultimate lead as the English right now. Now we have another 7 archers here. I don't want to throw away too much resources. Keybind 4 again on them. You can see the villager just closing off behind them. But he knows he's outnumbered a little bit here, and he can't afford to lose these units because he's already invested a lot into all these archers. You can see how quickly the mass builds up because of that high or the high training speed of this council hall, right? Now the right call from him is to expand into more economy. He has quite a nice number, 13 villagers on the tree line here, but you can see the difference now. We have our axe upgrade done, horticulture shoot coming shortly. We are expanding into our second pastures of farms here. So now you can see we're rallying onto the farms. These food villagers are staying on the sheep, just a little bit safe. And now we have more archers right here, and I'm pushing with these archers that I did have at the back. He did run away a little bit too far in my opinion, you know, and now we are walled off right here, and these archers won't do anything to these walls, so we are very safe right now. We did scout this out, we did close this off, so we are very safe at this point. Now he probably could get a few shots off from here onto these farms, but that's okay. A little bit of this is too small to get a farm down, and this is a little bit forward. You have to be able to protect this if you want to go this far. But now you can see we're sitting on almost 400 food. We have enough stone to do some things, and now I'm going for a bit of a push here. I'm selecting my villagers here. 5 on this side, 4 on this side, so I can push forward with these archers. But you want to do 2 things: create idle time, because this is considered trash army. It's not really considered an army to do a raid. And even this wall, like if you want to wall with the English, wall off this corner here, because you're saving almost 100 with doing that, and then come forward and maybe wall this little section right here and here, and wall maybe on top here, and that would give you security. And I'll show you why that becomes a problem later on. So now the horseman is coming out. The food and wood economy of his is quite low. We have quite nice resources in the bank right now. And another thing you want to notice is how much gold he has. 1,300 gold. If you're over investing in gold like that, take your villagers, drop down a market, stabilize your economy. Don't just farm it up if you are behind. So now you can see we do know he's going into stables and archers. We do push forward onto his food villagers here at the back. We did get a few villagers there, but now we're just making sure we can see from these units what actually attacked us. So we know there's horsemen being trained, not just 1 or 2. We did see the double stable, a nice little random sheep giving us a vision, and we see he's pushing forward. Immediately while that is happening, I'm pulling all my villagers that was building my second town center, and I push forward to get this wall down. Because if I get this wall down, the next step is that I can safely expand, right? He did not have a blacksmith down, so we do know there's no siege engineering happening very shortly. So we know it's just units. So because of that, I was planning on putting down these villagers on the wall. As soon as the wall is down, we go for the second landmark and we put down the white tower right here. So now our whole forward base is defended. We open up basically all of the space for a building, and we can expand with our units onto more safer resources. So we are garrisoned now onto the, or rallied rather, onto the wood line, and the second town center will also be on the wood line, because the one thing you want to get right when you're in Castle Age is not be limited by resources or training speed. So if you are training units and you only have a council hall, but your food and your wood and everything keeps increasing, then that's, in my opinion, maybe not a good thing. If you want to drop down a double barracks here with a council hall, having a wood line, having extra villagers on gold, getting a second or a third pasture. Specifically in the castle age, you want to be on 3 pastures as soon as possible, but also not restrict your production of units, because if it was a bit more of an open map, you would have this amount of units inside your base in a very short period of time, and we will counter that with 1 early man-at-arms. That's all we have right now. But because we played a little bit defensive and we did go for that push, we force him to use resources in a specific way. Now you can see the siege engineering coming through, some of those +1 upgrades. But we are already done with our lumber upgrade and so forth, and we can check on his side. The first horticulture upgrade is done, now only coming in with the double broadaxe. He did get specialized pick, so he does have the gold upgrade. I think I have not done that one yet. But because of that, we are, you know, really running ahead on the resources. Now expanding all of those villagers back onto the gold here, and now this forward point is very defended. And because we're already in the castle age, he needs to choose if he's going to go into rams or if he's going to wait and go into castle age himself, because you know, even this long distance shopping, put down another mill right here, you're going to save yourself a lot of time. He's actually going onto the deer right here. You know, very inefficient. The rule that Ozzy Drongo said that's quite nice is the less runtime your villager has, the better it is for yourself. So the right thing maybe to do here was to take all of these houses, put them nice and close together, open up all the space right here, and put down your farms all the way at the back here, even if you have to go as far as the end of the map, because then you know your food is safe and secure and no raids is going to happen on top of that food. Now we also sent our villagers forward to close off with a second stone wall in case he decides to ram. It gives us time to build up units now, and this is what I'm talking about. You can see how much resources he's sitting on: 1,000 food, 1,000 gold. If he had the castle age right now, either use all of this and build 100, you know, men-at-arms and push with the heavy men-at-arms, or you have to decide to use that resources into something. And you can see now the white tower coming down for him. So he also has a castle age coming in, but now we are ahead with the blacksmith upgrades getting done. We have a market to stabilize our economy. That's basically just to make sure we have enough stone if we need to build the stone walls, and also stabilize any excess materials into food, gold, and wood, so we can get a nice little army very early on. 17 minutes is quite late for this small army, guys. I'm no pro. I'm really not a pro at this game, but I mean, if you do this consistently, specifically getting this first early micro right, you know, it's an English mirror matchup. You can see we're sitting on 16 wood villagers, 20 gold now because of the second town center, and we're expanding. We're getting map control, and what I mean by that is we have our outpost, which was our first point of control, right? Then we pushed forward with the walls, which secures all this forestry, extra berries if we needed to, like with the Daily Sultanate or something. And then another forward wall with the white tower here, which secures all of this wood at the back. I was scared that a dock can go down, but I forgot that there is a bridge, so you can't really transport underneath the bridge. So I did wall off these sides here just to make my base a little bit more robust, which is a bit of a waste of materials, but hey, we learn, we live and we learn. And now you can see we did finish the second wall segment here on top of the sacred site, which gives us a bit of security on the sacred site. You can put down a keep right here and secure the sacred site very effectively, and another outpost ready to go as soon as these villagers are done, so we can have vision on this top. And he's basically waiting for upgrades. If you go check at his base, you can see those +1 upgrades are almost done. He does have siege engineering, now going for a monastery. Not really a lot of resources in the bank to be doing that. You can see all of these villagers still doing long distance shopping, and because of this wall, you're also isolating your second wood line. I mean, we have a lot of these small little wood patches. Yes, I understand that. But once this wood runs out, your next wood is in the front here. a wall is coming down now, but how are you going to secure this if there's no walls happening here? How are you going to secure this gold if there's no control over that? You can see we have this gold right here, a second gold mine right here, but we can't really push into this gold mine if we don't open up and get some control onto the base. But we have the 4,000 gold here and a 4,000 gold vein here, so we are very comfortable for gold right now. But yeah, use your resources that you do have available, like these two villagers. I'll show you guys what I do with them shortly. But if you have an army like this, at least make like a single ram and push in so you can at least get some information on your enemy. Because if you have an army like this and you're waiting for a player who's already aged up to castle age before you, you do expect a second town center. You do expect a lot more upgrades, a stronger army because he aged up before you, because he didn't lose a lot of units. I lost about 21 archers at the most, right? He lost maybe 17 archers. But at the bottom line is we did get a few villagers in idle time, and we have all the units now and a very balanced army here. Crossbows, veteran longbows, men-at-arms, some knights coming in. We have the siege workshop with the greased axles, so our army moves quicker. Counterweight trebuchets already in the queue, so very comfortable on the resources side, and now very quickly pushing up with a few of these military buildings. You know, double barracks with a council hall and a siege workshop and the white tower. You can train units with your white towers, with your keeps and white towers. But while that's happening, we know nothing is crazy happening on the map. We know if he has to push this side, we will have walls in place so we can see what's going on. And we are pushing forward with a forward town center, because I can push from here with military buildings or you know, some form of raids, maybe a few knights to push into the side here if he does not wall this off. And it gives us a little bit of vision, because we know the wood line is only here, and then he has to expand very high up to get to more wood and so forth. So yeah, that's the primary thing about the English. I think they're one of the strongest late game factions you have right now, and I want you guys to just practice, even if you go into a custom game, practice getting this age up as soon as possible, and planning or thinking of what you're playing against. Create scenarios in your own mind of what to expect. Don't just react to what you always see, otherwise you're going to have to play a lot of games to get better at the game, but rather think ahead of what to expect. Like in this case, we knew we were against the English. We knew we could handle a slow age up instead of rushing it. He's getting relics, which is great. He has 3 relics, which is really good for an English player, securing them. So that's maybe why he's not pushing, because he's doing relic control. We have a monastery right here. I'm going for this relic right here. We have a second one all the way down here. Usually 5 per map, so that's fine for a normal 1v1 map. Nice thing to join also into the armies means these monks will do some healing for him. And now you can see he's going very aggressive on expanding forward with military, right? And the problem with that is not scouted out. So I could have waited a little bit here, but I do see he is right in front of us. So from my perspective, this is what I see. I see the army. So I'll move my knights to keybind 4, the trebuchets to 5, spearmen, men-at-arms to 6, and then you shift click the units you don't want, and I'll make that 3. So now if I use 4, you'll see I'll move these knights out shortly, but as soon as I tab through all these units, I can control my army very effectively to make sure the right units is dealing with the right type of enemy units. Now we are aging up here. We're actually going for a Wineguard Palace. Is it Wineguard Palace? Yeah, Wineguard Palace, really strong landmark right now. But now you can see the men-at-arms are upgraded. They have +8 armor or armor, 8 armor, 7 normal armor, 8 ranged armor. So these longbowmen are not going to do anything against these men-at-arms. We are just soaking up some damage from them, using the trebuchets, counterweight trebuchets to deal with the White Tower, because that's the first control point that he has. We have our knights here at the back, just getting some raiding in. You can see he has trading trying to happen, but we also secured the market right here, so that's also not going to happen very quickly. But it's a 24-minute game, and we're already killed half of, or his entire army basically, with a very balanced big army right here and 2 counterweight trebuchets. I mean, that's not a lot of resources, but it is important to know what your enemy is doing and also play into your own strategies. I mean, I invested so much resources in thinking ahead of what possibly he can do. I mean, putting down a dock right here and coming forward and dropping off 20 archers right inside the base here. That's also a thing that could have happened. But right now we have upgraded units. You can see he has only +1 ranged armor and melee armor, +1 attack. If you look at ours, we are +2, +1 and +2. And the thing also, if you do any upgrades, please get this upgrade first. If you upgrade to veteran longbows before you get the blacksmith upgrades, you'll thank me later. It's a lot less resources for a lot higher upgrades. And now you can see we finished the Wine God Palace here. We don't get immediate upgrades like the French with that, but it is important to push those upgrades when you have the resources. But there we go, guys. A very good demonstration of what you can do with the English to push your ranked ladder. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. We'll be casting some fellow friends that I've made on the game and show you guys how to play some other factions as well, because they main other factions I don't right now. So why not get it right out of the horse's mouth? But